and welcome. Um, Today, it is quite a weird day because I'm doing this podcast alone and it feels lonely, let's say. So, right now, it is just me, a bottle of red wine, and a hamster. You would say, like, what, a hamster? Why a hamster? What happened? Well, long story short, me and Mirza bought a hamster for a friend of ours, and he didn't want the hamster, so Mirza took the hamster, and he realized that he is allergic to the hamster. So, guess who had to take the hamster? Woohoo, me! Fine, it's fine. The hamster is eating some apple, like a little bit of an apple, and I'm sipping some wine, so everybody's happy, like things are good. And yeah, I it's only me today because yeah, because Mirza is busy. He doesn't have time for me. Sad face, suicidal face almost. But it's fine. It's fine. I'll be okay. Because today I have you all for myself, and that feels great. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about a lot of stuff. So I'll just start. Okay, so something that I wanted to talk with you about was, um, I think more of like how to know when you're in a toxic relationship. What are the signs? And I'm just gonna start by giving you my personal perception and my personal experience that I've had with toxic relationships, which was only one toxic relationship. And yeah, at the beginning, it all felt so special. I I had butterflies, like everything was so great. It just seemed like the perfect guy ever. And let's just say, like, at that time I I just got to Denmark, so everything was new for me. And when we were talking together of like doing stuff together and all that, then he would normally come up with ideas. He would say, oh, we're going there, oh, we're doing this, because he just knew more than me about all of that. So it just felt more comfortable for me to kind of leave it on him. And that felt good for a while, but um, full blown in the relationship, maybe like, yeah, I don't know, maybe like 2 years in the relationship. No, like in the relationship, I think probably in like 1.5 years of our relationship, we both started feeling like, okay, this is not okay. And it was actually him who realized that things were not good, and he was trying to figure out what was wrong. And he thought that it was him, and indeed it was him, but it was also me. And I want to point out that in a toxic relationship, it's not that you are both like that one of you is that toxic person, that toxic dick, that toxic whatever it is. It takes two. You committed to the relationship. You committed to all the things that happened in the relationship until the present moment. So you are as responsible as the other person for the toxicity of that relationship. So I just want you to understand that toxic relationships become toxic because of the actions that we do together, because because of the agreements that we have, because of everything that creates our relationship. So it's not only one person, and it might actually not even be that person. Like a relationship can be toxic because of his parents or her parents, or somebody close to the family that makes it toxic, or because of the environment, because you hate the place, and you just like get in fights, and I don't know, things are just not going the way you want them to be, and it's because of an environmental factor. It's not even him. So he's not toxic, the relationship is toxic. And that's something that people have to understand before blaming the other person. You kind of have to look in the mirror and see and say, okay, how did I contributed to this toxicity in this relationship? How did I made this happen? And yeah, it might actually be that person that is more toxic. And you, the only bad thing that you did, like bad in quotes, is kind of like the fact that you agreed to the bad things, because of course you didn't know, so then you agreed. um so yeah, going back to my story, I can tell you that the things started to be bad when he realized that he needed excitement in his life, that things were not as exciting as they used to be. And the reason for that was the fact that he was taking control over everything. He was deciding where we're going, what we're doing, the what we're like basically what we're doing every day. Like he was the one saying like, okay, we are eating this, okay, we are going there. It was kind of like I didn't had an opinion. I kind of lost myself in that situation, in that relationship. It was not me anymore because we were only doing what he wanted to do. We were only eating what he wanted to eat. We were only, yeah, spending time with each other because it was also Corona time in that period. It was a very bad time, but a very good time for realizing that things are not working. As I guess probably maybe even half of the worldwide couples that existed in that period probably broke up because of Corona. So yeah, it was probably something really good, in my perception, in a way, of course. Um, so yeah, and we yeah, he was saying like, okay, like we can't do this anymore. I need some excitement. Things are not happening. And then we were trying to do that. I was trying to, like make some different types of food, try and find activities that we can both do together that would get us out of that, boredom. But I tried and there was nothing. Like he was never happy with it. And that made me so annoyed and so sad because I was like, okay, I'm actually trying here. And, in that moment, I felt like, okay, there's something wrong with me because I cannot please him. Whatever I do, there's not enough. There must be something wrong with me. Like, at least that's what I thought. But of course, it wasn't. And um, not only that, throughout the relationship, I remember moments when um, I would be naked and he would put me in front of a mirror and then he would stare at me in the mirror. And I felt so insecure in those moments because I was not happy with my body and I knew that. But I also knew that he was not happy with my body because I remember him saying like, "Oh, I really don't like to fuck you doggy because you have these red spots on your butt." Like it was kind of like um, itchy kind of thing that I had, and it was from biking because I was here in Denmark. We always bike, and I was actually working I had a job at that point that required me to bike 5 or 6 hours per day. So of course I would get those rashes because my skin would be, yeah, would be sensitive to that. And yeah, he didn't like that, and I felt so insecure about that. I felt so insecure about the fact that I had cellulite. I felt so insecure about the fact that my skin, my legs were not thinner. So many things that I was just, yeah, I was just not okay. And I think taking out of that relationship, it was, yeah, it was him who was not okay with how I looked. But of course, it was me who was not happy with myself in the first place. Because if I was confident enough in that moment, and whatever he would have said to me, it wouldn't have gotten to me. If he would have said, like, oh, I actually don't like because you get those rashes, like, I don't like to fuck your doggy because of that, then I would say, okay, go fuck yourself, get out. Like, that would be me now. But me then, a different situation, as you can also tell from the story. So I think, yeah, it was a big problem in that moment. I actually, after we broke up, I started to slowly be myself again and build myself up. And I'm not saying that everybody should have a toxic relationship, because it hurts like hell and some people cannot recover from that. It's really I think it's really dangerous for some people that are very sensitive to their persona. But damn, I grew up so much. I changed in such a good way. I found myself in a way that I had no idea that I can know myself before that. So what I'm trying to say is that whatever hard thing that happens in your life, not necessarily negative, something that is hard, something that you don't have a solution for at the moment, and you spend endless days, hours, months, years fixing that thing, that makes you grow. And yeah, they say learn to enjoy the process, but I guess that process was so unhealthy. The process of growing, the process of um, learning how to know myself better and how to love myself. Because I remember I started therapy right after I broke up with him, and my therapist asked me, "Do you love yourself?" And I just burst into tears because I fucking hated myself. I didn't even know myself. Can I love myself if I don't even know myself? If the whole relationship I have been told that the person that I am is not good enough, and I shouldn't be happy with myself. I should, aim for more. And yeah, he was right in that sense, my ex-boyfriend. He was definitely right. I should aim for more. But that was not a nice way of saying it. And it sure as hell, it wasn't something that helped me in that particular moment. But yeah, now, if I don't know if he's hearing this podcast, or if he would be in front of me right now, I would tell him, thank you so much for the experience that you gave me. Even though it was a toxic relationship, it was a relationship from which I've learned so much and I've changed so much. And it just got so much better from then on. It got so much better. So I'm I love him for that. I love my ex-boyfriend for what he gave me. He gave me knowledge, knowledge to for myself. He kind of opened a door for me that I haven't thought of opening it myself. And of course, it wasn't the easiest way of doing it, but it was the most effective. I think if I would have done it on my own, it wouldn't have been so powerful. And maybe it wouldn't have been so much as it was now. Maybe I would have grown a little bit and then a little bit more in another period and then another period. But this thing just happened so fast. It was amazing. And I I am so grateful. I am so, so grateful for that. And I just want to tell you that if you ever find yourself in a relationship in which you are not happy, a relationship that seems to kind of pull you down rather than, build you up, then I guess you just have to wonder. I guess you just have to think about the fact, like, what is this relationship actually here for? Is it helping me in any way? Is it helping me grow? Is it helping me stay the same? Is it actually taking me down in any way? And kind of just think about the fact that if it's getting you down, that's also a way of, it's also something that kind of builds you up in the future, but just not now. And I guess that's also fine, you know. But yeah, but I actually know that it's hard. It's hard to know in those moments if you are actually happy, if this relationship is actually good for you or not. Because when you have the feelings and you love somebody so much, you see only positives, or most of the times most of the positive things in that person, and you just cannot see the negatives. It's kind of like those things don't exist. And I know I've done that too, so many times. And I've even went that far into forgiving him for cheating on me. It was actually terrible, now thinking about it, that I just didn't realize. I was so blinded by that relationship. It actually happened because he said that he cannot do this anymore. Things are too boring. He wants some excitement in his life, and he thinks we should take a break. And he went to live with his mom. And meanwhile, like, as we discussed, I thought that it was just a break for him to clear his head, to, feel better and all that. And he came back after 2 weeks or something, and we talked. And I asked him, "Did you had sex with anybody else?" He looked at me and he told me, "I would never lie to you. So if you're asking me this now, then I'm going to be honest and I'm going to tell you that yes, I did have sex with somebody." And then in that moment, I just felt like the whole world just crashed. I was so in love with that person, and I realized that they were not in love with me. Because my definition of love is, if you love somebody, if you really, really love somebody, then nobody else exists. That's, at least it's my perception. That's my perception of love. In my perception, you can only love one person, romantically speaking. Um, and anything else, that it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't count. I remember being in a relationship with him, and I was just so focused on the relationship. I was with my friends, sometimes just walking around, and they would be like, "Oh, did you see that guy? Oh, that looked so hot. Oh, like that guy. Oh, look at him." And I was just like, "No, I didn't see that guy. I didn't even look. It didn't even went into my mind to even look at that guy, because I have another guy at home. And I'm happy with that guy. Or at least I thought so. At that point, I thought so." But yeah, and told me that he cheated on me. And how did I take it? I forgave him for it. And that was because I just couldn't live without him. I just thought that he was the love of my life, that we are just going through a rough period, and that's okay, and that everything is going to be all right. But I just didn't know that that thing actually affected me so much because yeah, after a while I talked with my very good friend. We were actually we were out on the beach, and I was just so devastated. I was so mad and so sad and all that. And I was talking with her, and I was telling her, well, he cheated on me. And she said, like, what? She couldn't believe. She was like, what? Like, and are you like, do you still want him back? And I was like, yeah, I do. I don't know why, but I do. And then slowly realizing that he actually cheated on me, because in my mind it wasn't really like that. In my mind it was kind of like, okay, he needed that, so is maybe it's not called cheating, but it definitely was. And then while I was realizing that, being there with my friend, I was like, okay, I don't want him back. I really don't. This is shit. And I just texted him. I told him that I just don't want him back. And I think it was 2 days after that, he wrote to me. He was like, okay, I think I've made a mistake. I'm so stupid. I want you back and all that. And yeah, I told him to come back. And I was so kind of like so amazed about the fact that he wanted me back so badly. He seemed so in love with me at that point. And then he came back, and he was crying, and I was just like, oh, okay. um well, I want you back too, because I actually did, but in reality what I wanted was for that thing to for him cheating on me to never happen, because yeah, that was terrible for me. But yeah, and we got back together, and I just started acting differently at some point. I just couldn't do it. I was always grumpy, and I would put it on in his face. Like, I would just say, like, yeah, you slept with another woman. Like, yeah, you've been with another woman. And sometimes I would just tell him, like, it's so hard, I keep on imagining you with that girl, and I just can't get that out of my head. And sometimes I'm dreaming, like sometimes I would dream about it, and it was awful, and I just wanted it to stop. But I just realized that the only way it can stop is for me to break up with him, because it was way too painful for me, and it was clearly a sign that I cannot be in a relationship at that point. I was, I think, way too low on my self esteem and on my mental health and all that to be able to even like accept that he slept with another woman, which of course is not something that women should accept, because, or men, for, yeah, for another reason, because it's like, it's called cheating for a reason. It's not like you both agreed on it. It's only one person who thought like, maybe I should just go and have sex with another person, and then they did without consulting with their partner about it. Um, and yeah, um, what I actually wanted to say with this is that um, I think being in a relationship like that and being unhappy while also being happy, I think it's a fine line in which we cannot really tell. And I'm thinking that Maybe when you're in a situation like this and you're not sure, just talk with a friend, or I don't know, write in. I am more than happy, and I just want to help you, actually. So if you have any issues like that, just write in and I'll try and answer, or I'll try to take the discussion on the podcast. And of course, don't worry, any messages that you guys are sending this way are going to stay anonymous. I am also working on creating a platform for yeah, for you to be anonymous and for me to not even know who you are, because I think that would be easier for most of you to share things here on the nasty talks, because yeah, we are, I think, all ashamed of certain things in our lives, certain things that happened, certain things that we like fetishes and desires and all that. And we are not comfortable with making that public, or we are not comfortable in other people knowing that we are the ones who like that, or we are the ones who had this experience. And I totally understand you and I totally respect that. So what I'm trying to say is that um, just don't be afraid, okay? I am not gonna bite you, I am not gonna judge you, I am just gonna be here. Yeah, so just don't be afraid. I'm not gonna judge you. I am just here to help you and to also help other people that are listening to this podcast, because um, actually, at the end of the day, um, happiness is what matters. And I just really hope that all of you are good with your mental health, with your mood, with your jobs, with your sex life, with anything basically and everything. Because we should be happy in our lives. And I hope that this episode helped you in some way. I really hope that you are not going through what I have been going through. And if you are, that you are hopefully going to get out of that situation, because it's painful and it's hard and you just don't deserve it. You deserve much more than that and much better. So, yeah, take care, guys, and talk to you next time in the next episode. Until then, bye.